Hello, Goldma viewers. I trust you had a pleasant weekend. I also hope that everybody here had a good rest and we're ready to jump into another interesting topic. Before we do that, though, how was your weekend, guys?
That was good.
Good weekend.
Good
Yeah, that's
weekend.
good. That's good.
Okay, all right, that's good. Mine was also good. I got a chance to rest. And today we're going to be discussing two giants. We have fiat currency, which is normally called the incumbent, and then we have the emerging one, which is asset-backed cryptocurrency. And for a while now, there seems to be an ongoing conflict because people are of the view that the two can never coexist, that eventually one is going to replace the other. So it's now survival of the fittest. So what's your take on that, guys? Do you think cryptocurrency will eventually overthrow fiat currency?
I don't know the future. Don't have a crystal ball. But what I can say is that gold previously and in the past has stored value and been a medium of exchange. So that, by definition, is money. Stores value over time and can be used as a medium of exchange. Versus fiat currency, which over time has always failed. It's always went to zero. In every instance, there's no instance where there was a fiat currency created and it didn't go to zero. Now, come on now. If that's not enough evidence, what is? What evidence do you need? So now there is gold standard 2.0 because we know with the Nixon shock in 1971, when he removed the gold standard from the dollar, and now the dollar is based on the people's confidence. Hey, what if the confidence is removed? What if the people become aware and say, no, gold is the real money. It's been the real money. Just like I made an argument before that people became aware of gravity collectively and understood gravity way after the fact that gravity's been here. Newton, he's like, hey, wait a minute, this thing right here, it's falling. Here's the equation for gravity right here. But long before that, there was gravity here. And that's what I'm saying about gold. Gold is money, and maybe many people have not come to that realization that gold is money, but it is. Whether they are aware of it or not. The central banks know, and that's why they're collecting it, and that's why you see the governments of many different nations are collecting gold. So this conversation, I believe, is going to be a great conversation today because I'm very curious about what you guys have to say about the cryptocurrency becoming the new world currency that people trade on. It can, I don't know, it can, I'm saying. Maybe that for the time being, there will be a basket of currencies that people use, and I think that may be the way it goes for now, but eventually, can it? It's possible. It's very, very possible.
Okay. I have a question here. When it comes to issuing currency, you're not only governing people socially, but also financially. You are saying to people, you need to store your value somewhere, right? So this is what is valuable. So you use this to trade, and these are the rules for trading with this tender, right? Which means that you have your own terms that come with that money that you issue to your population. But now, with cryptocurrency, how do you then maintain the same amount of authority with a currency that you might not necessarily have control over? Because once it's out there trading on a platform, there's very little that you can do to manipulate people or control people using that currency.
Yeah, but is it necessary to do so? Is it necessary to have that power? Because fiat currency only came into existence to solve a problem, right? Like people need to transact we can't do barter trade. So, in this time, we have this republic or this country, we have this banknote that we're issuing. So I don't think it's necessary to have that control for governments. Now, could they try to influence it somehow? Pretty difficult to see how they could. I mean, humans are pretty creative. You never know what people can dream up, but I don't think it would be as easy as it is within the current financial system, because monetary policy would be taken away from central banks effectively.
Yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to bring to light, that wouldn't that then render monetary policy useless? There won't be any need for it, right?
Would yes and no. Yes and no. It depends what criteria we're using to judge the need for monetary policy, right? Like, is it expansionary? Is it controlling inflation? Does the arrival of cryptocurrency negate those two things? Are we saying that if we're planning to grow the economy, we can, like at the macro level, the government who's responsible for not responsible for economic growth necessarily, but people expect the government to manage that growth. Some people.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people.
Some people.
I was feeling that libertarian.
I'm glad.
I was like, no, that's not the government's job. But yeah, that's a conversation that can happen within the society. But okay, it comes back to the fundamental responsibility that the government has.
Okay.
If we invite them into managing economic affairs, then it's hard. There's too much tension there for the government to manage economic affairs and to take away monetary policy from them.
Yeah.
Perhaps fiscal policy they would have, like if there's taxation and whatnot, how they use
That's the
government
most
expenditure,
important part.
that they
Taxation.
could still do that.
Because
But I think that's going to be there. Taxes has been there since Jesus told the people, hey, give Caesar what's Caesar. Give what is his. You know what I mean? So that's there. You know what I mean? Even Jesus recognized that. However, it does not determine and dictate the value that gold has. It does not change the medium of exchange. It doesn't make gold corrode, and it doesn't make gold go away. So these facts, knowing that people at the end of the day will trade, have a medium of exchange. The government gonna figure a way how to get some of that anyway. It don't matter what you trade. You trade whatever. You know what I mean? They're gonna get theirs off the top. Like my mom used to say, they get theirs off the top. All right?
Yeah.
That's there. We call that the cat. Back in the hood, that's what we call that. Get that to the cat. You get that to the house money. You know what I mean? Now, what we decide as a people is to decide to take responsibility for our own actions, for our own level of education. When I look at Eddie right now and I say, hey, brother, what you gonna put your bet on? You gonna bet on fiat currency or you gonna bet on gold?
Oh.
I know his answer already.
Oh, yeah.
But based on his educational level, I know where he has studied history. I know that this brother studied. I know you've studied history. And I know you know that since the beginning of time, there's been many different fiat currencies created. We were talking about the greenback back in the day, right? Where's that at now? How much value that got? You know what I mean? And so now that I think about all these different currencies that were created, and the viewers can look it up themselves, all of them have went to zero. So when I ask this brother, what are you going to do? It's not based on the hype that I'm talking, because I'm talking about Goldman or whatever. No, these are just the facts, man. Like they say, facts. We're just talking the facts. And whether you want to accept it or not, the central banks is getting their gold, okay? And right now, the truth of the matter is the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe want the gold that's produced from our mine. And they paying money for it. All day, every day. You got some gold? Here's some money. They got it. It's waiting on that. I don't have to worry about whether or not I got a customer. The customer waiting on me. Where they do that at? Where do you have a product that there's a customer 100% of the time waiting on you to buy it and buy all of it. Come on, that's all I got to
You
say.
make a strong point.
Yeah.
There's something that I want to ask as well that I don't think we should ignore.
Okay.
Capacity.
Yeah,
You know, the GMA token.
Come on.
Okay.
You know, what I think is what people need is something that's reliable, right? If you can see with gold, like what Mr. Jenkins mentioned, a lot of fiat currencies came and they've gone, but gold is still there. It is maintained. And with what we have on one claim, what Minscon, the mine equipment company, right? They told us there's an estimate of $6.1 billion on just one claim. We're not going to mention the rest. And with the capacity to extract that, I think we'll be able to do it. Because already as we are already mining, we are already paying salaries, we already have a community that's benefiting from that. So imagine at the scale where we run our crowd sale, we run everything, we have enough money, we will actually be able to back. And what I know is there's always a ripple effect to something that's successful, right? People will be aware. And for the government of Zimbabwe, if a company in Zimbabwe, mining in Zimbabwe, has managed to do that, bring investment inwards and actually succeed, Goldma will be offered more opportunities to mine, more opportunity to say, you know what, we need you to do something here, we have a claim here, do this, do that. So the answer to that question is yes, yes, and yes.
Okay. All right. I want to re-ask my question. I like what you said,
Okay.
but I want to ask again.
Okay.
I am saying we have the US dollar. That's the global currency, the global reserve currency, right? It's right here. That's the giant. And then we have emerging cryptocurrencies that are asset-backed. Can they actually topple the dollar, or isn't that as difficult as toppling patriarchy? Sorry to talk about that, but I'm just thinking.
jarring thing. But isn't I want to take like go one stage above or below. I'm not sure where it is, but it's replacing the dollar for what? For transactional purposes or for storage of value purposes? Because money has to do three things, right?
Yeah, to
Unit
do
of
all-
account, storage of value, and a unit like means of transaction.
Utility, yeah.
I think in the short run, the transaction side of things is we're a bit limited on the cryptocurrency side because there's still some things that haven't been figured out.
Right.
We have to make it as easy as it is to pull out your debit card and pay for something, right? Storage of value, that's the easiest one. I think that's what Eddie was alluding to, that. In terms of storing value, there's not even a competition. I think the American dollar is way, way, way far behind because of inflation. And if that's the sort of, funny, the phrases themselves in the English language, if the American dollar is the gold standard of fiat currencies, then imagine what the rest of them are. Right? So it means that
Oh my God, that's strong.
That's a strong one right
That's
there.
powerful.
as for purposes of storing value, I think fiat currency is not good. I mean, most rich people, they don't have $100 million sitting in the bank account. It's not wise to do because, I mean, this is standard economics, right? If the rate of inflation in your economy is 5% and you have $100 million in your bank account and you keep it in the bank account for the whole year, it means that at the end of the year you have $95 million. Right? So for purposes of storing value, there's no competition. Like it's pretty, like any economics textbook that you get will tell you exactly the same thing.
Okay. I like what you guys are saying.
That's actually great. Like, just to support further what he said. On storing value, it's a no-brainer. Gold it is. But have you noticed how people get used to things? Back in the day, did they even know that we're going to be using the US dollar when they had other currencies? They could not even imagine
in this
that.
Country, no.
Yeah.
We just thought,
Even way back before there was paper money.
Yeah.
They could not imagine that, what? People are going to be swiping? People are going to be using paper money?
Right.
But it came, it happened. And now people are used to that. They can't imagine using gold-backed currencies.
Okay.
But it's going to come and it's going to be like, there's going to be something else. So that's how it works, you know.
I actually think that having asset-backed currencies that are backed by gold is actually reverting to the original plan of value. Like before, you used to store your gold, and then I would write you an IOU to say, this is how much gold I'm holding for you, right? So it's sort of reverting back to the traditional model of value. And for the benefit of our viewers, when we're talking about digital assets, what we're actually saying is assets in themselves are difficult to move if we are to share them, you know? So let's say, for example, I say I want to share this table with everybody that's on this panel, but we're in different continents, different locations, different jurisdictions, right? Which makes it very difficult for me to be able to share this with you because of the mobility factor for like, firstly, it's very difficult for me to cut a piece of it and give it to you. And if I do that, it ceases to be a table. But if I am renting out this table for $100 a month, right? And then I digitalize the share that I get from renting out this table, it means that you have a portion that you're entitled to from this table, right? So what it means is now you can have a share of an asset by getting a token that represents your entitlement to that asset. So you're able to share. I just thought that out, enlighten and share with people so that they understand what it means to have an asset-backed cryptocurrency. Now, we're moving on to our argument. We talked about capacity. We said that it's possible. And what about adoption, though? Do you think it's quick for people to?
It's a good point because I was just looking at the adoption of credit cards. Think about it.
Yeah.
It's plastic representing paper money, and the paper money representing something else. You know what I mean? We don't know what that is.
Yeah.
We can't go and do accountability of confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no books we
can't
can check on
measure
it.
yeah.
Can't measure it. There's no metrics. Now the metrics are measured by the global markets. You know, New York Stock Exchange, all the other exchanges across the world. People are beginning to say what the dollar value is worth every day. You know, that's there. But it wasn't until, you know, the early or the mid 1900s where credit cards, they were trying to adopt it in the 1930s and the 1940s, and they were trying, they were failing. And then Bank of America came along in 1958 and started successfully, in California, making it work. And look at it today.
Yeah.
Credit cards are in full adoption.
Yeah.
And my mom was born before that time. So she can remember a time there was no credit cards. You had to have your money. So now think about it now. She's now seeing cryptocurrency come into the play of economics. And this is what I foresee cryptocurrency doing. I see it failing here and there, and then there becoming some successes coming up, and sooner or later you're gonna perfect it. You know, I think about EOS, I think about Ethereum, I think about Goma becoming that new standard of cryptocurrency that can now transfer value through different borders after 5 o'clock. You know what I mean? After 5, and even on Sunday when the good Lord don't want you to use the financial system, you still can do your transactions. You can still send mama some value. But right now, still is tied to the bank. Even credit cards are tied to the banks. The banks are still holding on to control of the monetary system. And I foresee that the banks will do the same with cryptocurrency. They're going to put a stranglehold by lobbying the governments to give banks control of a legal cryptocurrency, because that's what the dollar is now. The dollar is legal tender. You could have some other tender. I'm not talking about tenderoni, but I'm talking about legal. I'm talking about legal tender. That's the dollar. It's legal.
Yeah.
Now you try to use something else, it's illegal. It's not legal tender. So the banks will make a strong attempt to be the governing party that dictates how cryptocurrency is applied throughout the world in the future. That's my prediction. I don't want it to go that way, but that's what I foresee happening.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the social impact of cryptocurrency as opposed to fiat currency. As much as the United States dollar has been the global currency for years, do you think that cryptocurrency will connect the world much faster than the current global currency? Here's why I'm asking this question, right? The digital space has eliminated all borders. Like the time, space, location is irrelevant because of that, right? And now we have this currency that operates within that space, within one global village. Do you think, and I can literally transact with someone in Ukraine from here. Like I can send money and he can send me money, or he or she can send me money. So once we do that, it's like our world can easily connect in that sense. The fact that right now someone in Russia can get Goldman tokens, someone in Kenya can get Goldman tokens, it means that they're not restricted by borders anymore. They're able to invest in the gold mining sector in Zimbabwe without all these hectic procedures and protocols. So that's already uniting us, because now you have stakeholders from all over the world, and that's pretty interesting.
I heard stake orders because it's close to me.
Stakeholders. My bad, guys. My tongue is just not really that active right now. But anyway, in conclusion, we're each going to decide. Cryptocurrency replacing fiat currency, we're just going to give a one-word answer, good or bad. Or maybe. Well, I don't know.
Oh, no, you can't type that.
We're just going to try
That's
and
a
do
good
that.
one. That's a good one, because I think that it's going to be very difficult for any of us to make a prediction exactly when and how and what. But we do know, based on history, fiat currency will not remain the same. We do know that, okay? Based on history. We do know now that there is an emerging technology called cryptocurrency, called blockchain technology to be specific, that is allowing the evolvement of money to happen and to occur. So in the future, yes, there will be a different type of medium of exchange. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know. I believe that blockchain will play a large part of the equation. But I also believe that it will take time for market adoption. And I think it's going to take time, going back to the point that he was making, is that you need to make it where all of us can figure out how to use this in a very simplified manner.
Well, my final thoughts is good. Mr. Eddie?
I say it's good. I say we're going back to the original. We were once gold backed. We strayed away. Things went bad. We lost 98% of our value, meaning the US dollar. Now we're going back. So I'm saying we're going back to the good. So good for me.
Okay. And lastly, Mr. Rubin.
I'll keep it short. No, I'm kidding. No, and I think if it meets the conditions, the three things we expect from money: a unit of account, means of exchange, storage of value over time. If it fulfills those three things, great.
Lovely conclusion. Remember to subscribe to our channel. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also feel free to give us your thoughts on the matter at hand right now. And if you have anything to say, we are quick to respond. Also remember to click the notification bell, because we are putting content out on a daily basis, and we wouldn't want our precious viewers to miss out on the discussions that we're having here. And with that said, it's lunchtime. Till next time, it's bye-bye.